We will call the meeting to order at 9:05 this morning. In the true spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge all those who call this land home now and for thousands of years in the past. May we respect each other and find understanding together and recognize the benefits that this land provides to all of us. We move down, item B, adoption of the agenda. You have before you a proposed agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, any omissions from the agenda? John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move the adoption of the agenda as presented.
Thank you. John, Cole, do you want to remove H or?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, that's okay. John?
So I'd like to amend my motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Thank you, John. John has moved to adopt the agenda as amended. Any discussion? I'll call a question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Item C1, the County Council meeting minutes, September 5th, 2024. Are there any errors, omissions, any issues arising from the minutes? Mark?
Thank you, Reed Campbell. I'd like to move the adoption of the council meeting minutes of September 2024.
Thank you, Mark. Mark has moved to adopt the County Council meeting minutes of September 5th, 2024 as presented. Is there any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. I should have said off the get-go, Councillor Van der Veen is traveling in Europe, so he won't be joining us today. However, this brings us to a point in our agenda where we do have an addition to make. So we have a swearing-in ceremony for our new councillor for Division 5. Candace, the floor is yours.
I, Kevin Slum, do swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability, execute according to the law the office of Division 5 Councillor for the Lethbridge County. So help me God.
Boris, you want to take a picture?
I'm not moving. There's not much to layer with you.
Might be the hardest thing we do all day.
I'm working on glare, can't help but layer.
Sure.
If you don't like that chair, it's
If you like, Kevin, green but or the push to talk button, and then if you want to introduce yourself, feel free.
Hi, I'm Kevin Slump. I'm very honored to be here. I look forward to working with you all, and yeah, hope I can do what you guys expect from me, so thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for running, and congratulations, and yeah, it'll be a good year. Awesome. Anything else before I move on, Candace, or is that good? Oh, one other item. Cole does have a commitment, so if he has to sneak away a bit early, it's not because we scared him off, it's that he actually has somewhere to be, so just a little bit later in the agenda. Shorter meeting. So why don't we move down then to our department reports, D 1.1, the 2024 business tax adjustments. Morning, Jen.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have before you the 2024 business tax adjustment requests that were submitted prior to the complaint deadline for council approval. The assessor has reviewed the requests received, and a summary has been included within the package here for you. There were 3 requests this year, which is the same number as we had last year for adjustment requests. So the business tax was levied on June 10th in the amount of just over 1.675 million. Sorry, I lost my spot here. And all applicants have the opportunities to submit an adjustment if they feel that the amount that was levied is not accurate with what their usage is at the time. So I say 2 adjustments here because it's 3 business tax levies, but it's 2 property or 2 tax rolls. So technically it's 3 for your information. Some of the reasoning for, council may have noticed, I think initially when we did the first levy back in 2017, I think we had 17 or 19 adjustment requests at that time. Then we were down to 8 for several years, and now we're down to 3. So I did speak with the assessor just to kind of confirm what his thoughts around why the reduction is, and just for council information. And a lot of it is just related to determining the animal units based on the bylaw thresholds, with operator utilization of quota numbers, specifically within the dairy operations, site visits, which can verify if the business is current or not, and if we have had some closing and sales of some of the operations. So the ones that are before you within the summary, one is a dairy, and then there's a sheep with ewes and rams, and then feeders. They all are within the or below the threshold, so they fit the criteria of the bylaw for the adjustment. And the total adjustment amount would be $6,127.65. So administration is just looking for council's approval to go ahead with these adjustments. As mentioned, they do fit within the guidelines of the bylaw for the adjustment.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Any questions for Jen? Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move the 2024 business tax adjustments as presented in a total amount of $6,127.65.
Thank you, Lauren. Lauren has moved the recommendation that County Council approve the 2024 business tax adjustment request as presented in the total amount of $6,127.65. Is there any further discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Corporate Services, item 2D12, the 2025 budget presentation schedule. Jen?
Thank you. So I'm bringing forward the 2025 budget presentation schedule. So this is where we can review the 2025 and 27 operating and 2025 to 2029 capital budget. So the schedule is just a timeline from when we will review, deliberate, and council can provide direction on on the budget itself and any changes they may or may not like to see. As council is aware, and as I do mention every year, that the Municipal Government Act does state that council must adopt an operating budget for each calendar year by January 1st of the calendar year, or an interim if they're not prepared to pass the next year's budget, and same with the capital budget as well. And it just That just gives administration the authority basically to spend the money and continue with general operations as we should. I know that there may be some conflicts with the dates that have been proposed in the schedule, particularly with the meetings themselves. And as in the past, I have added in just at the very bottom a 2025 to be determined date should an interim budget get passed in December and we need to bring back a final 2025. So the dates proposed, pardon me, are in late November. And I know Councillor Sayers had mentioned that maybe those dates don't work. So I was just wondering if council wanted to propose some different dates and we can just take a look at the calendar. This is just the 27th and 28th would be the full days of deliberations of both the operating and capital budget. Bring back a review on the 5th, and then a second review if necessary for the 12th for potential approval on the 19th, or at least the interim budget to be passed on that date.
I'd open it up. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I spoke with Jen earlier. I've just got a conflict that on the 26th to the 28th, so I was wondering if we could either look at the, Monday the 25th and Friday the 29th, or whatever works for everybody else. Or the Friday, Monday. But anyway, it's just those 3 days, the 26th, 27th, and 28th overlap the meeting I have in red here.
What is everyone else's schedule like? Do we? I'm flexible, so I can. Warren?
I do have a conflict on the 27th as well.
Okay. Would the 25th and 29th work for administration?
Yep, we can make that work.
Would that work for council?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
if I may, is it, just kind of thinking about processes in the past, is it better to have the meetings together, just for some continuity and just to keep the flow of it going? Because
Yeah.
we could even move it to the 2nd and 3rd
Okay.
of December. I don't know, or do you want it earlier than that? The week before?
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't have real strong opinions with Jen taking on a new role. This will be the first time for us fielding some of this with the team and some of the pieces that Jen covers off while we recruit. So I think we're fairly flexible. I think we can make either work. I think if it's split, there's a challenge with the continuity, but it may give the team some time. If there are any items that need to be adjusted or that come to light, we can bring those back to council. If they're together, we can make that work. So I think let's just pick the dates that make the most sense for council, and we'll adjust our schedule accordingly.
Okay. What are thoughts, Mark, John?
Either one. I'm flexible. I'm nothing.
Do you want to do the consecutive days if we go to the 2-3? Or do we want to do the Monday, Friday? The 25, 29. Kevin? Okay, yeah.
You guys are here that Thursday for a council meeting too, just so that you are aware, we do the 2nd and 3rd, we do 3 days that week.
Oh, we love it here, Candace.
Just throwing it out there.
Second, third?
I'm good with second, third.
Second, third. Let's do that, Jen, please.
Absolutely. Okay, and yeah, I'll just make note of that and let the staff know, and then I can adjust the schedule and council can share that with council.
Okay, go ahead, Lauren, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you still want to do the 5th as well? Or would that give you enough of time if there was anything that needed to be changed?
I think we would plan to bring it to the 19th meeting, probably, but
Might
maybe.
want to keep the 12th if there's any adjustments that are required from the meeting, coming out of the meeting on the 2nd and 3rd.
When we have the council meeting on the 5th.
I just mean if they have any direction from the budget and we need to go back and do the
Yeah.
same thing. The
Yeah.
12th might be good just to have tentatively.
For sure, yeah, we could put that as a placeholder, and then if we can keep the 5th for now, because we'll have council in a formal session for those budget deliberations, we can get a motion at the time if we need to
Okay.
make some adjustments. Would that work for council? Then we have it blocked if we need it.
Yep.
I'm more apprehensive as, more related to the transition. I don't know if we will or we won't, but Jen's working hard to help us with that and hopefully have the budget built for the most part before she leaves. So I think it should go fairly seamlessly. I just don't know entirely as we transition some of these items.
Okay. So you'd still like a motion though, and just approve the schedule as amended? Is that? Okay. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move the, what's the wording on this? County Council approve the 2025 budget presentation schedule as amended.
Thank you, John. John has moved the recommendation that County Council approve the 2025 budget presentation schedule as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Development and infrastructure, D2, D2.1, ACP grant, accessibility to water through enhanced irrigation networks study. Morning, Devin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Council. So I'm here today to seek approval for the submission of an Alberta Community Partnership grant application to conduct a study which will analyze current irrigation storage and delivery methods and examine alternatives to reduce water loss in the system, such as converting conveyance canals to pipelines. Traditional irrigation delivery methods can result in water loss of up to 10%, and even if a fraction of that is recovered, it would significantly increase the amount of water available for the region. The county has already had discussions with the SMRID and LNID, and we plan to work closely with those organizations through the study's development. We have also requested support for this application and collaborating with the following municipalities: MD of Tabor, Coaldale, Picture Butte, Colehurst, Nobleford, and one I forgot to list, Cardston County. So we're just in the process of requesting those letters of support from those municipalities. We anticipate the outcome of this study will identify new opportunities to improve efficiencies within the irrigation district's conveyance and storage network that would allow for further economic growth in the region. Potential projects will be identified that could result in water savings, and a cost-benefit analysis will be conducted to ensure each project's value and merit. Just a bit of background information. So as you're all aware, Southern Alberta has experienced several droughts throughout the years, with water availability becoming more and more challenging. As demand grows, it's essential to find more efficient ways to use it. The study will identify opportunities to optimize irrigation systems, such as modernizing infrastructure and improving management practices. By reducing water evaporation, ground infiltration, and enhancing delivery precision, water resources will be managed in a more efficient way, creating opportunities to utilize water for other critical uses, such as supporting agricultural growth, community development, and environmental sustainability. So, as I mentioned, this is just an application for the grant. There is no financial commitment at this time, as the grant does cover $200,000, 100% of that. And the recommendation I have before you is that County Council approve an Alberta Community Partnership grant application for the accessibility to water through enhanced irrigation network study with Lethbridge County as a managing partner. With that, I will put it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Devin. Devin, we see quite a few of these ACP grants. Either we're supporting other municipalities, or in this case would be the managing partner. How would you characterize the success rate for applications for ACP grants currently? Is it pretty, they're pretty well received and therefore funded, or how would you characterize that?
I would say in our experience, we have been fairly successful in the past in receiving these applications. And the fact that we have requested support from 6 other municipalities and we're working with 2 irrigation districts only bolsters that application. I'm quite confident we will receive funding. Obviously, it's not 100% guaranteed, but just based on previous experience, we have been quite successful in receiving these grants.
Thank you. Cole, just a question. I know that this has been a tactic that's been used by another municipality. Do you maybe would just want to speak to that?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what sparked the idea, and we don't have all the necessary details, but when the Balzac Cross Iron Mills development was done, they had issues securing enough water license to complete that development. And so they worked with the irrigation district in the area to essentially pipe a series of their canals, which resulted or mitigated water loss. And so they were able to secure water through the irrigation districts by essentially getting more mileage out of that water. So by minimizing that water loss, they were able to secure their water while the irrigation district had no net negative impact on the number of acres that they were able to support or their obligations with their agricultural producers. So our hope is, we've got a lot of studies. We know that water is our biggest challenge, I think as a province, as a country, but as a region, especially coming out of the drought this spring. And there's only so much water in the basin, and there's obligations for that water to go to a certain amount of that water to flow through to Saskatchewan as well. And so while we are conducting a study with regional partners between Lethbridge and Medicine Hat to see the most viable areas to treat water, the part of the conversation that we haven't had is where does that additional water come from and how do we secure that? Because as much as there's water license or there's conversations around securing water license from irrigation districts, that doesn't translate to being more water in the region. And so we want to make no assumptions. We've met with irrigation districts to talk about this, at least in theory, and we can flesh it out further if we get the grant funding to support it. There's no assumptions around if there's options to secure additional or mitigate that water loss to secure additional water, where that water would go. Not suggesting that necessarily means Lethbridge County or any municipality gets that water license for potable water, or the irrigation districts can get more mileage out of that water to secure more acres. Our hope is simply to gather the data to say, what is the return on investment? What are the cost implications for some potential projects? What's going to have the greatest impact to minimize that potential water loss? And how much water does that secure? And at least we have the data to have more meaningful conversations as a region to establish what that long-term vision is for us, for them, for wherever that water may go. Because I don't think that the answer necessarily is going to be, we can put more storage and that's wonderful, but if the water's not there, we go through a long drought, that's not going to give us the best chance of success to secure water for our region at the growth that we're growing. And so we want to leverage what happened at Cross Iron Mills on a much broader review of LNID and SMRID to see if there's something viable there that we can help us secure more water for the basin.
Thank you, Hulk. I'd open up to council for any questions you might have. Go ahead, Laura.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the first part of your presentation, did you say Cardston?
Yes.
So does the SMRD cover off all those little sub-districts in there? Because some of them have terrible water loss. Or is it just a general synopsis of the situation involved with the SMRD?
Thank you, Councillor Hickey, through the chair. So the reason we included Cardston County, SMRD has very limited conveyance into Cardston County, really on the north end of the county. But in conversations with them, if we're going to review their works, they thought as to draw a circle around the works that we would assess, it made sense because it borders the county and extends slightly into Cardston County. We have not received support from these other municipalities yet. We have to finalize the grant application and obviously have a resolution from our council to say we support this before we can confirm which other partner municipalities will give us support. But SMRID was the one that requested that we include them, but it's fairly minimal irrigation that occurs in the county.
Go, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the whole crux to this is basically to look at ways at minimizing parasitic loss so that could be utilized elsewhere then.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Any other questions? Mark?
I'd like to move that the County Council approve an Alberta Community Partnership Grant application for the accessibility to water through enhancement irrigation network study with Lethbridge County as a managing partner.
Thank you, Mark. Mark has moved the recommendation that County Council approve an Alberta Community Partnership Grant application for the accessibility to water through enhanced irrigation network study with Lethbridge County as the managing partner. Is there any further discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Devin. D3, Administration. D3.1, the South Region Agricultural Service Board Conference, County of Newell.
Thank you, councils. The South Region Agricultural Service Board Conference is being hosted by the County of Newell on October 29th, 2024. They have requested participating members of the South Region Agricultural Service Boards to attend in an effort to foster good working relationships in the agricultural community. And so it is our recommendation that 2 members of the ASB committee wishing to attend the South Region ASB Conference in the County of Newell be authorized by council to do so.
Thank you, Cole. Is there any discussion? John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move that 2 members of the ASB committee wishing to attend the South Region ASB conference in the County of Newell be authorized to do so.
Thank you, John. Are we okay to name those at a later date, Candace? Okay, excellent. John has moved the recommendation that 2 members of the ASB committee wishing to attend the South Region ASB conference in the County of Newell be authorized to do so. Further discussion? I'll call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. And the second item under administration, D3.2. Do you want me to speak to this, Cole?
Yeah, please.
Sure. I received a phone call from one of the organizing members of Canada's Outstanding Young Farms National Event, and then some supplementary information in the form of an email, which is attached as the background information. So this is an annual event, the Canada's Outstanding Young Farms, through a self-nomination and through the providing information about your farming background, what your farm is, your financial health as an operation. All that information is submitted, and a group of judges go through and select successful Canada's Outstanding Young Farms winners annually. And this year, the event is being held in Lethbridge with some tours in the surrounding area and just highlighting some of the things that are happening. As I said, progress made during the farming career, how they maximize use of water, soil, and conservation practices, crop and livestock production history, financial management practices, contributions to the well-being of the community, province, and the nation. Each year, 2 of the 7 regional winners are chosen by the judges as Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers. In Lethbridge this year, the week will include a president's reception on the Wednesday, ag tours on Thursday, including Mercer Seed Farms, Lethbridge College, Bayer, and the Kirkham Collection. The highlight of the event is Friday with a speakers forum on water management in the morning, honoree presentations in the afternoon, and the gala banquet on Friday evening when the 2024 winners will be announced. Saturday will be another full day of interactive farm tours, including Meridian, Western Tractor, Green Prairie, the Gem Museum, and Stamp Farms at Enchant. Sunday morning is a send-off breakfast. As part of the communication that we received in your attachments, there are several sponsorship opportunities. Through this, it was requested that we consider sponsoring this event, as it is obviously tied to agriculture and happening within the boundaries of Lethbridge County. So before you, you have platinum, gold, silver, and bronze sponsorship opportunities. There is further sponsorship opportunities, as you'll see in the package. As well in your attachments, I believe, there's also the invitation letter, which I received. And with that, there is a recommendation from administration that Lethbridge County provide sponsorship to the Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers National Event being held on November 27th to December 1st, 2024 at the bronze level in the amount of $1,500 from the Councillor Donations Reserve. It's also in the recommendation the council appoint a representative and their guests to attend on behalf of the county as required. Is there anything you wanted to add, Cole? Thank you. So with that, I would open it up for discussion and your consideration. Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So how is this different than the one the Junior Chamber used to have? It was for all of Alberta. Is this for all of Canada, or?
Correct, yeah. They break it out into regions, I believe, within the province, or within the country. I believe Ryan and his wife Annette Mercer are previous winners, as are Greg Stamp and his family. Those are the two most local ones that I can recall. Sorry, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm appreciating that Lethbridge County, we talk a lot about agriculture and support agriculture heavily. Is there any particular reason that we are only looking at that as a bronze level sponsorship, given that this is a national event being held here?
I think it was when I received this and I passed it off to Cole, I just initially suggested that we put the bronze on the agenda item and have that conversation, John. So yeah, that's yeah. Sorry, Cole.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If council would like to change the level of sponsorship, I would just maybe defer to our Director of Corporate Services, Jennifer Place, to confirm the availability of funds and anticipated commitments from the council reserve.
I don't have the reserve balance just in front of me, Mr. Chairman, but just in the back of my mind, I believe there's over $20,000 in there right now. So there is some room if council wanted to look at a different sponsorship level.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to see this up more in the lines of the at least gold or silver sponsorship, personally. I'm not sure how the rest of council feels about that.
Horace, thoughts?
Well, I'm not kind of with John on that end of it. I think, with such a intensive agriculture area as it is, that makes sense. I think that would be.
Lauren, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I see a great deal of benefit actually from stepping up at least to the silver. I was just trying to read the difference between the gold and the silver, so.
Sorry.
How much, but 2,000?
I'd be comfortable with either one.
Okay. Kevin, you have any thoughts?
As I'm new to it, I think I agree with John as well. It's a big agricultural industry or society here, so I think, yeah, I would be okay with that too.
Mark?
Yeah, I'd be fine with the silver. It's good blend there.
The floor is yours, Councillor or Deputy Reeve Curbis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move that Lethbridge County provide sponsorship to the Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers National Event being held in Lethbridge, November 27th to December 1st, 2024, at a silver level in the amount of $3,000 from the council donation reserve. Should we do this all in one?
Do you want, yeah, two? Yeah, we'll do that. Let's do that first,
Okay.
John. So John has moved the recommendation that Lethbridge County provide sponsorship to the Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers National Event being held in Lethbridge, November 27th to December 1st, 2024, at a silver level in the amount of $3,000 from the councillor donations reserve. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Morris.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personally, I feel we should be gold, and for what we are in this region, that's my why silver.
I'll happily amend it to gold.
John has moved the recommendation that Lethbridge County provide sponsorship to the Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers National Event being held in Lethbridge, November 27th to December 1st, 2024, at the gold level in the amount of $5,000 from the councillor donations reserve. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. And then the council appoint a representative and their guest to the event, to attend the event on behalf of the county. I believe that increases, right? Yep. 3 representatives and their guests to attend on behalf of the county as required. And I believe this is the end of November, so maybe we'll hold off on naming people for that too, Candace? Would you like to make that motion though, John?
Yes.
Okay. John has moved the council appoint, or the council authorize up to 3 representatives and their guests to attend the event on behalf of the county as required. Does that work, John? Excellent.
So, if I may, what do you mean with guest? Who is the guest?
Well, you
The
could take
rest
your
of
wife.
council, is that guest?
I suppose if you
Because
wanted
I
to.
feel all of council should be at that event.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The sponsorship package includes 6 tickets at the gold level. So I don't think that there would be any significant challenge in obtaining more tickets if all of council wanted to go.
2 of us are already in commitments.
Yeah, so there's other people already have commitments for those dates, so I'm sure that we can work it out in a manner that's palatable to everybody.
Okay, so John has moved that recommendation. Is there any further discussion? I'll call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, John. Moving down, operations, D4, D4.1, the 2025 capital equipment purchasing.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Council. Annually, the Council approves of 5-year capital plans as per the Municipal Government Act, which requires an approved 5-year capital and 3-year operating budget. All purchases for the replacement of existing equipment would be for the 2025 calendar year and therefore will fall under the 2025 capital equipment expenditures. As there are delays in delivery of equipment continues to be a challenge due to manufacturing timelines, ordering of some equipment is required immediately to ensure equipment is available for the 2025 season. Recommendation to council is to approve the 2025 fleet capital budget for purchasing requirements that require ordering now so that they're available for our 2025 season. So as part of the budget process, quotes on equipment have been sourced and received. However, through that process, some manufacturers have indicated that there are delays that will push well beyond spring and summer if items are not ordered immediately. By starting the purchase process and issuing RFQs, equipment can be ordered immediately to ensure delivery meets our operational requirements for the 2025 season. Previously, the council approved the 2024 budget, which included the 2024 to 2028 capital equipment projected purchases in December 2023. All equipment purchased in this year for 2024 would be applied to the 2025 capital budget. Questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Cole? Did you have anything? Sorry.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All I would add is there are a few items on that capital budget that we are working through, but the approval will give us the flexibility to source those. So we think, if anything, that there may be some cost savings. For example, we have the CPO truck where we had a recall, and one of the largest recalls in Ford's history, and we do have other fleet vehicles potentially available, but we're not sure if the items sourced that are required for the CPO truck, as an example, will fit in the other models of trucks that we have. So those are things that we're exploring, but this approval will give us the flexibility to execute those procurement purchases when we need to ensure service continuity. And we had anticipated that the delays would get shorter based on the feedback, and there's just still some items that if we don't get them ordered ASAP, we're going to miss next season, and we have some critical pieces of equipment that we need to turn over from a operating cost impact.
As we've seen this kind of evolve and change with lead times and just, you know, supply. Moving forward, do we see this perhaps maybe being a potential just change in our budgeting where this becomes the norm and maybe we look at this differently, do you foresee, or how would you see that evolving?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do. It's one of the things that we had planned to work through following the financial conversion, and I am hoping that, you know, in the 2025 calendar year, as we move into 2026, that we can make some of those changes. Some of the challenges that we have is we need to update some of our policies and bylaws, such as like our delegations of authority, some of the purchasing parameters, and then transition and refine a lot of our level of service documents to better flow into budget, so that when those are approved, how we structure the budget can give us a little bit more flexibility, because often we'll put a line item in here for a piece of equipment, or we'll have some, you know, as an example, we'll have a grader transmission that fails, and we have to make a key decision where we may have a $350,000 bill on that grader, and we need to understand the impact of that level of service. Do we flip that grader? Do we fix that grader? And sometimes that doesn't always align with council meetings and being able to prep this from a procurement standpoint. And so I think we have some work to do, and there's a number of hoops we need to jump through from a level of service, policy, potentially even CAO bylaw, as well as some subsequent directives that we need to structure this differently before we get there. And that's going to take some time, because it's some of the challenges where exactly to start, because we need the budget process and to understand how to structure those things, but without those other items in place, it makes it hard to move forward in that budget process or under a different structure. So in a very long-winded way, yes, we do need to see this change and evolve. I just think it's going to take us a little bit of incremental steps to move towards that.
And maybe on the heels of that, I know that something that's always been a question from council is around that fleet and what that looks like, how that evolves. Maybe could you just provide maybe an update, I suppose, as to where we are more holistically and looking at the fleet and how that's evolved?
Absolutely. So I think this is one of those processes that is iterative, that we're building on. But one of the challenges that we had, or that I had when I started, was there were certain pieces of equipment that, such as graders, where we purchased those and we flipped them on a 7-year window while they're on warranty, and we were told that, well, that's the best way to do it. And we said, okay, well, what's our cost to maintain these if we keep it for more hours? What do we need from a staffing, like a heavy equipment tech? What is our like, what are the forecasts for that service level? And we didn't have some of that, and we've since hired our manager of fleet and operations, Sean Ogershnik, who has commenced a number of those reviews, where now we know that our practice was correct. We were turning it at the right increments, and we have the data to support that says at X number of hours, there's going to be this cost implication for this amount of turnaround. Here's the staffing requirement. So when we pencil this out, we're cost neutral, but our mechanical availability decreases if we don't turn those. So we can make more informed decisions. And we have pieces of that analysis and review, same on light duty vehicles, where there was a period of time where turning those, purchasing them and turning them so they could be sold down in the US allowed us to operate new vehicles annually at a very, very nominal cost, sometimes profitably. And that's no longer the case. And so what we need to set up in the level of service is a mechanism that gives council confidence that those reviews are happening frequently, and that the review will drive our purchasing or procurement practice, and not necessarily that our past purchasing and procurement practice will drive our future purchasing and procurement practice as the market evolves and changes. So we have some of that data. We don't have all of that on every piece of equipment as we move through our financial conversion. We have some budgetary software that we're implementing that we have to structure that in a specific way so that we can capture the data, so we can then interpret it. And so there's pieces that we have a lot of historical data to make those informed decisions. We have some vendors that provide that, and there's some other pieces that we need to set ourselves up to start to collect that in a more meaningful way so we can make future decisions that are more informed. So it's an ongoing challenge, but I'm very thrilled with the progress that we have made in some of those reviews, and we've started with our most expensive capital purchases as our priority for those reviews.
Thanks, Cole. I would open up to council for any questions that you might have for Ryan. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome to your first presentation, Ryan.
Thank you.
And this is something that's normally on everybody's hot seat, but appreciating that, I personally am gaining some confidence that administration is doing their best to get us off the hamster wheel of just constantly replacing things just because. I would like to move that council approve the 2025 fleet capital budget for purchasing requirements.
Thank you, John. John has moved the recommendation that council approve the 2025 fleet capital budget for purchasing requirements. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Thanks, Ryan. We'll move down in our agenda. Item E, correspondence. Bear with me. We'll try and make a few highlights. Our first is from the CPAA August 2024 e-news. And if you kind of scroll right down, this is the learning about the CPAA and AAPPI at the University of Calgary. The Alberta Professional Planners Institute, along with the Community Planning Association of Alberta, are excited to co-host the 2024 University of Calgary Students Professional Planning Network event. Has the details, September 26th, 12:30 to 2:30, University of Calgary. The event will include a brief overview of who APPI, CPAA, and CIP are and the benefits of the membership, roundtable discussions, opportunity for students to ask professional planners, no fee to attend. And then as you keep scrolling down, the 2025 CPAA annual conference, early bird pricing. So this is for the 2025 CPAA annual conference. There's a list of the CPAA board of directors, and there's also, and the announcement of who the key speaker will be from the April 28th to the 30th. Doug Griffiths will be the keynote speaker at the Global to Local 2025 CPAA conference. Item 2, the Alberta Municipal Affairs 2025 Service Training Program Grant. Dear Chief Elected Officials, it is my pleasure to announce the Municipal Affairs is providing $500,000 in grant funding for the 2025 Fire Services Training Program. The government recognizes the important work of fire services, and that public safety is always a priority, while Municipal Affairs respects that fire services are a municipal responsibility. We also recognize that a strong provincial-municipal partnership is key to keeping Alberta safe. This is under the signature of the Minister of Municipal Affairs, Rick McIver. If we move down, item 3, the County of Lethbridge Community Learning Council AGM invitation. So before you have an invitation to the AGM for the County of Lethbridge Community Learning Council. Join us to gain knowledge of our programs and services, share information and resources, and discuss partnership opportunities to support adults in Lethbridge County. Your insights are invaluable. October 3rd, 2024, lunch at 12, meeting at 1, with RSVP by September 25th, and it's in Coaldale. I guess I would ask, if there's anyone on council who'd be interested in attending this event? Okay. Oh, we do? Okay. Well, that will make that probably a little more challenging then. Sorry, Kevin. Thanks, Mark. And then the 4th, the People's Republic of China invite. On the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, they're requesting the pleasure of your company at a reception on Thursday, September 26, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Contemporary Calgary. Please RSVP by September 13th, so I guess we're a little late on that, but yeah. If there's anyone, is there anyone interested in attending the Council General 75th anniversary event in Calgary on the 26th. John?
Sorry, I'd just like to speak to that a little bit. As I attended this celebration last year, and I think it is something that is important to us given our trade situation with China and and possibly Councillor Hickey can speak to this as well, because we have a twin city with, sorry?
Twin County.
Twin County, yes, yeah.
Okay, thanks, John. Is there anyone that would have interest in attending? I believe that's next Thursday. Oh, sorry, guys. Go ahead, Lauren. Go ahead, Morris.
I would attend if nobody else wants to go.
Okay. Morris?
Yeah, I would like to.
Okay.
also.
Okay. We'll set you up with Candace and get that taken care of then. And that brings us to the end, the end of our correspondence. John, go ahead.
Just some business on that. For the CPAA, we have traditionally sent representatives to that. Is that something that we should action today?
I don't see Hillary here. Candace, how do you want, excuse me, how would you like to handle that, Candace?
There is an early bird price that does end January 6th. So you can think about it, you can talk about it again after the board meeting.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Okay.
We can move down then to county council and committee updates. Why don't we start in Division 1 with Councillor Lauren Hickey. Lauren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So on August the 1st, we had a county council meeting. On the 20th, we had two events, and that was the Whoop Up Days Pancake Breakfast, where we cooked breakfast for all the people who were in the parade. And then followed that, we had the Mayor's Whoop Up Days Barbecue, and the county had a booth across the street. And it was quite well received, I think. Gave away quite a few of those little squeezy toys. They were quite a popular item. And then on the 28th, we had an audit committee meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. For Division 2, the first county council meeting, as well on the first Shinnecock Library Board meeting. One thing I might draw your attention to on the Shinnecock front, with their current funding model, if we go back a couple of years when there was a proposed increase to the requisition for Chinook Arch, through their bylaws, it's required that they receive unanimous consent by the participating members to increase that levy. At the time, the city of Lethbridge chose not to increase, rather hold. So as a result of that, there was a significant reshuffling of the budget to try and manage that. I give a ton of credit to the group at Chinook Arch for doing that. If we fast forward a little bit, the city then asked for a value for service evaluation of what Chinook Arch meant, a cost-benefit analysis. That has been undertaken to a large degree. There are still some questions being asked by the city of Chinook Arch. Everything to this point has proven that Chinook Arch goes above and beyond delivering for every dollar that they are provided. They then turn that around multiple times in value, what they deliver to the city through the partnership with the city and the Lethbridge Public Library. However, as we've seen with the city through economic development, tourism, and some of these arm's length groups, that the city is looking at what the value and how that fits into the bigger picture. My hope is that council will see the value and will come to the table in a meaningful way and realize that there is a ton of value that Chinook Arch provides, not to the city, but to Southern Alberta as a whole. And we can see that levy go up just to provide the services and what Chinook Arch needs to meet its mandate. So that is my hope, and I hope through this process we get there. On August 6th, Coldell Potable Water Reservoir groundbreaking ceremony, the 7th. Cole and I traveled to Vulcan for the farmland taxation presentation. 8th, the Link Pathway Phase 1 grand opening. The 9th, we met with the consultant who conducted the CAO 360 review. The 10th, Coledale Summerfest Parade. On the 13th, Cole and I sat down with Minister Scal, discussed some of the opportunities and challenges that we have in Lethbridge County and again here in Southern Alberta and in the minister's riding, and then how that possibly ties into not only his MLA role but also his role as Minister of Sport and Tourism. The 17th, attended the Pitcher View Jamboree Days Parade. 19th, I was asked to participate in the core audit review, and through that I was interviewed by the auditor. The 20th, Whoop Up Days Pancake Breakfast, as Lauren alluded to. The 23rd, was asked to attend a pro rodeo hospitality event hosted by the city. The 24th, my wife and I volunteered for the Lethbridge Exhibition Casino. Try and support the exhibition in any way we can. It was great to see everybody that week step up. They do have a longer stint of a casino than most organizations do, just because of the previous nature of the casino that was at the X during Whoop Up Days and how that transitioned with AGLC. So it takes a lot of members to make that work. So just thank you to everyone that stepped up and volunteered their time. I know members of council did as well, so thank you. Members of staff across the street as well. So just a big thank you to everyone that did that. And on the 28th, audit committee meeting. Just filled in there for the vacant spot vacated by Councillor Van Essen. So thanks to Lauren and John for all they do on that audit committee, and thank you to Jen for going through that process of helping deliver some real meaningful information to the group on selecting the next auditor. If we move down, Division 3, Councillor Mark Sayers. Mark?
Thank you, Reeve Campbell. August 1st was Lethbridge County Council meeting. August 10th was the Coledale Summerfest Parade. It seemed to be a lot longer this year. There's a lot of people there. It's great to see the kids that help out the families, well, members of our staff and council that brought family out to help out. It's great to see the kids throwing candy, and they just love doing it. On the 13th, RMA Town Hall meeting, attended that, listened to that, and they were sending out a follow-up to councils on that. On the 20th, there was a bunch of events. The Whoop Up Days Pancake Breakfast, which is a hit. The exhibition really appreciates council stepping up, the county stepping up to assist with that. It's a lot of fun. I think we've got it down to a science now. This is, I think, our 3rd year, so we just have to make smaller pancakes. But we actually, this is the first time we ran out of batter, which is a good thing. We served a lot of people, and everybody really appreciates it. The parade was after that. I learned that my people in the community know my granddaughter more than they know me. Her name was yelled out multiple times, which is really depressing, but that's okay. She loved it. Then we had the Mayor's Whoop Up Days barbecue across the street with the booth, so Lauren and I had the opportunity to look after that for a little. Thanks again to the staff for putting that together. I think this is one of the better years for us, and the recognition that the county got over there. On the 20th also, the Brighter Together tour I went on. There was a reception that evening. The next day was the full day tour, and that was a great event put on by Economic Development Lethbridge. They're doing a great job for the city and the region. And then also I didn't add was, like Tori, I volunteered at the Exhibition Casino on the 22nd, and then on the 25th was the last night. So my wife and I, it was date night, so the two of us worked the casino that evening, and we always have fun doing that, and we look forward to it. So it's a great organization that we're supporting. So thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Division 4, Deputy Reeve Curbis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A very, very light month for me due to my personal work commitments taking me away, but August 1st was a council meeting, and August 28th was an audit committee meeting, and I thank you, everybody, for allowing me to remote into that so that we could get that taken care of. And I would like to put a thank you out to the rest of council for picking up the slack that I was not able to attend on a lot of these functions, including the barbecue or the pancake breakfast, which I was very depressed that I was unable to attend that. But thank you, everybody, for picking up the slack where I was unfortunately otherwise disposed.
Division 6, Councillor Vanderveen, the 1st, County Council meeting, 7th, Link Pathway meeting, 8th, grand opening of Link Pathway, the 17th, Pitcher View Parade, and the 23rd, a SEWA board meeting. Division 7, Councillor Zeenstra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On August the 1st, we had this council meeting, and then that's not, that's my fault, I didn't report it, I guess, but on the 7th or the 8th, I think it was the Link Pathway celebration, and I was at that one too. And then the picture grade and group of days, pancake breakfast, I was not much of a help because I had another commitment before 9 o'clock, so but I was there, and I appreciate some of them that were there and did all the work. And group of days barbecue, I was there, barbecue down here at the city office.
Awesome. Thanks, Morris. And on the pancake breakfast, just a big thank you to Ryan, Justin Ellis, Cole, and everyone else from the team at the county that helped support us to get that done. So thank you guys. And I believe if there's nothing else, Cole, I believe that brings us to the end of our agenda for today. Morris.
Move so.
Morris has moved to adjourn at 10:06 a.m. this morning. Any discussion? I will call the question. Those in favor?